So a few years ago, we reached a crucial point in our evolution. Our predecessors had made a huge series of mistakes, you know, things like the 19th Amendment. The real big one was allowing women in the workplace in the 60s, and as a result, the world has, I'm sure by complete coincidence of course, slowly descended into complete chaos and is obsessed with things that don't matter at all. And with the advent of social media, first generation women have decided instead of doing anything productive at all, they would rather seek attention on social media. If they're hot, great, go right ahead. But the vast majority are not. So these mids have to seek attention by being offended at pretend things to get the likes they so desperately need. A woke woman's thirst is never quenched. Oh, and so many of them have so little control they cannot stop eating 78 cheesecakes a day. And rather than admit any responsibility and try to rectify their mistake, no, they embrace it and invent words to try and shame people being horrified at their form. So I think you can see Operation Whammon has failed spectacularly and something needs to be done. So the finest male scientists have been hard at work to create something where we can regain the productivity we have lost completely over the last 50 years, but also keep the screeching from the women to an absolute minimum as we replace them. The first prototype was Lia Thomas, a second generation woman so powerful and feminine, she slayed everyone who competed against her in her chosen sport, swimming, without even breaking a sweat, winning every trophy she competed in, and that takes some balls, let me tell you. Then during interviews, she just talked about swimming instead of using her platform to whine about racism or something else she was equally unqualified to talk about, like pre-bug fix female athletes used to do. Lia was a queen amongst women. Unfortunately, she was just too good, so the shrieking from the pre-patch women became unbearably loud, so poor Lia had to be banned from swimming, as it just wasn't worth the earache from the other women, and then non-stop complaining instead of just getting better at their chosen sport. But her accomplishments could not go unnoticed, and she was nominated for the NCAA Woman of the Year, and it will be a travesty if she does not win it. She set records no woman will ever break again. She truly was the greatest woman swimmer in history. So the first part of the experiment failed in one respect. The shrieking was just too loud. The scientists went too far. So we learned we can't out and out humiliate the women by showing their sports are pointless and no one cares about them. So unlike a woman, we didn't blame someone else. We learned from the error and created two new prototypes. The first was named Rachel Levine. Now instead of making Rachel Levine stunningly beautiful like Lia Thomas, they modelled her on a Salvation Army grandma, much less threatening to the fiercely territorial woke woman. Now this experiment has gone swimmingly well. She has assimilated well with the female of the species, and when she murdered thousands of people by packing care homes full of old people with the coof, no one cared, unlike when Andrew Cuomo did it. We may also have found out an advantage with the Woman 2.0 that men don't have. First generation women appear fearful to criticize them when they're not kicking their ass in sports, so she became the first female admiral as a reward for all her shenanigans. Then the final prototype was a much bigger project. Pre-firmware update women have a bug that gives them an irrational fear of nuclear power, despite being the safest, cleanest form of power in the world. You mention nuclear power to a woman and she immediately thinks you're talking about bombs. So how can we retrain them? Well, first we modeled this prototype on a conehead because everyone loves that movie, and named him or her Sam Brinton. And we didn't even fully make him a woman. We made her a hybrid of sorts, so you don't really know what on earth you're looking at, which makes woke women curious and ready to simp, because if they can virtue signal on social media about you, they adore you. And we installed him into the Office of Nuclear Energy so he can teach all these women that nuclear energy is really cool, and we should be transitioning to it quick smart. And it's working. These females lap up everything he says because they love his shoes. And America is so proud of their creations. Unfortunately, Britain, despite having so many of the greatest inventions of all time on our record, we can't claim these. They're totally all yours, America. Well done. They're now sending them all over the world to show off how great they are and how every country can benefit from these women replacement devices. This week they're in France to have some champagne and to impress the French ambassador in how far the technology has come. Now, before you start furiously typing in the comments with all the trans hate and bigotry, I will leave you with this. Would you rather a woman had their job? Exactly. That's it for today's video. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe to see more content like this. Thanks, boy.